Hello, everyone. Welcome. How are you? Hey, I'm not going to take too much of your time today. Probably about an hour here. So I'm going to make a suggestion that you get comfortable, grab a notepad and your profit and loss statement. That was what I think our promo said. Hopefully, you've got that printed out and handy with a highlighter to categorize and talk about your bottom line. What I want to do today is really show you how to get more profit to your bottom line, and controlling expenses, what they should be, and that sort of thing. So with that, let's get busy on it. First thing I've got on my screen is if you go to the coaching site under the schedule tab and click on events, it lists a good bit of our events. Depending on the level of access that you have, it will depend on what you see here. But just about everybody watching our webinar today, I believe, will be able to see this. Okay, right here, January 16th and 17th in Toronto, and this is the Platinum Business Building Bootcamp. Okay, this Platinum Business Building Bootcamp is this is the second one I've ever done, and this one will include Craig and myself and a few others. And over the course of 2 days, its primary aim is to help you make 2016 your most incredible year ever. There's no hype here. There's no gimmicks. There's no parties. There's none of that stuff. It is hands-on, get down with it, work on your business for 2 solid days. The very first day, day one there on January 16th, is nothing but getting listings. Me, Craig, and others telling you this is what's working, this is what's not working, do this, do that, copy this, copy that. So we've got about 7 to 9 marketing systems here to get listings that we're going to highlight and walk you through. And if you want more signs in the ground, if you want more sellers calling you saying, hey, I want to talk to you about selling my house, this day is all about that. And that's very difficult to duplicate on webinars and in other in one-on-one calls. It's very difficult. So because we get to show you, we get to discuss it, and walk you through step by step why, and the I's dotted and the T's crossed, make it look this way, do it that way. Okay. Day 2 is all about your team, because once you've got some listings going on, you're going to have an overflow of business. Many of you already have regularly an overflow of business. Well, look at, man, you're only as good as your team. That's how good you are. You want to know how good your real estate business is? It's your team. When it's you, that's how good your business is. When you've got other people on your team, that's how good it is. I like to say it's really only as good as your lowest producer. Okay, so what do? Well, you need a better sales team. You need to always be recruiting. That doesn't mean always hiring, but always be recruiting. Inside sales and outside sales. So this day is pretty much dedicated to just that. So we're going to walk you through every system necessary from your administrative team to the outside sales agents, to inside sales agents, what to do, how to get them, easiest way, and drill down specifically on the Millionaire Agent System franchise prototype for that. So, okay, so there's my plug for the January 16th and 17th Platinum Business Building Bootcamp in Toronto. So hopefully you will be there and you won't regret it, okay? So let's go back to normal drawing mode. I'll erase all my drawings, and I'm going to take you to the library, and I want to show you something. Okay, library, file library, and everybody can follow along here. And when I get into the file library over here, we've got the Platinum Operations Systems Library. That'll be the one that we want to go to here. And there's a few ID numbers here with P&Ls. The one that I picked up is ID number 367, okay, is one of them you can check out. I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. But I've got several of them on here. ID, where's it at here? ID 247, okay, I've been leaving that up here for a while. They're very similar, pretty much the same thing. It's an Excel spreadsheet, okay? But just to let you know where we are, Platinum Operations Library, in the file library on the member site. And I want to talk about the franchise model, the system that you should be following to get your profit in line. Okay, so I'm going to do a lot of talking, do a lot of showing of things, and give everybody a chance to get settled here and get squared up for attention, because this is going to be really good. Okay, so let's take a look then at this profit and loss statement here. It's ID number. And I'll just pull that bad boy right up. Let me see if I can make that look like I want it to here. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this thing because this seems to be a point of contention with many of you. First of all, what should your profit be? So let's just get on page here with how this works. Okay. Craig and I think your profit should be somewhere between 20% and 30%. Yeah, that's the range. That's the low end of the range. That's the high end of the range on other people's work. Okay, which is basically a result of your work. Okay, so other people's work. So let's talk about that. If you have an outside sales agent that goes on a listing appointment, they list the house and it closes. After all of your expenses and your cost of sales, how much profit should you be left with? And there's your range, 20% to 30%. So I'm going to show you how to get 25% net bottom line profit on other people's work. Now, let's talk about that, because many of you will say, well, my profit is 50% or 60% or 70% or 45%, all these other crazy numbers. And the answer is no, it's not. Okay? No, it's not. So when you listen to other people out there in the industry and they talk about their profit being, let me tell you why it's probably not that much money. And that is, if you're the agent on the transaction and you do a deal, okay, so let's just walk through one. Okay, I go out on a listing appointment. I list a house. It closes. I'm the agent on the transaction. Okay. The commission was $10,000. I probably had some marketing expenses, right? I had some travel expenses, and maybe I paid my assistant. Okay. And then, well, how much do I have left? Okay, like 80% or something like that, right? Okay, but what about me? What about my time? See, I was involved as a real estate agent on the transaction. So if you do not factor in your time being the real estate agent, then yeah, your profit's like 80%, 50%, 90%, I don't know, but some numbers like that. So, but this is what separates our business model from all others in the industry, is that we put a dollar on the activities of the real estate agent. Does everybody make sense? The agent activities, the selling activities, there is a dollar amount to put on that. So if you're being the real estate agent, if you're the one on the appointment, here's what I know you're not doing. You're not working on your business. You're not hiring and recruiting. You're not calling back the leads. Okay, you're not doing things that the team leader can do at that moment in time. You're on an appointment. So you have to account for that time. So the point is that if you can get other people to be the real estate agent in your real estate business, besides you, Craig and I maintain that you make a boatload more money. But there's an evolution to the process. There's a growth side to the process. So if you broke down our Platinum program, the hundreds of members that we have in it, yeah, a third of them make over $1 million a year selling real estate. And the higher up the income ladder that you go, there are more and more and more of those people that are not real estate agents in their business. Some of them don't even have active licenses. Okay? So do I need to repeat that? Because I'm sure some of you were looking at your email and checking your Twitter feed when I said that. So let me repeat it. Yes, out of the hundreds of members that we have, a third of them make over $1 million a year selling real estate. Okay? And the other 2/3 are on their way. A third of them make over $1 million. Some of those people upwards of $5, $6, $7 million a year or more in income at this moment in history. And the higher up that income ladder you go, the less time they spend being the real estate agent, with many of them never spending time as a real estate agent. Some of them not even having real estate licenses. Okay, but again, there's an evolution, there's a growth process of it. So we're going to start with this model and what it looks like here, and I'm going to walk you through it, and this will be one for the history books. Okay, so I'm taking my time, and I'm going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to suggest you do some writing here, and I'm going to try to get this transcribed actually and printed to go along with this. That'll be a good idea. Let me write that down. And that'll be in the transcription. Okay, so I want to spend our time here talking about getting your profit to 25%, okay, with the understanding that being a real estate agent is a job. Okay, when you are the real estate agent, you are the technician. Okay, there's the entrepreneur, according to Michael Gerber, the entrepreneur. There's a technician, there's a manager. Okay, so the more time you spend being the entrepreneur in this business, the rainmaker, as we like to call it, oh my goodness, the more money you're going to make. Okay, so it's a race to do this. Make sense? Great. All right, so this is going to be fun. Okay, so we all agree that yes, if you go on a listing appointment or you go and you're out working with buyers, you are being a real estate agent, and we understand that's necessary, and we're not doing something else, which means we need to account for our time. So let's go ahead and put a number on this, okay, this model of what cost of sales need to be. In other words, what are we paying ourselves? What are we paying others to be the real estate agent, to be the salesperson in the transaction? Okay, what are we going to pay? Well, it cannot exceed 50% of your income as a rule. Okay, it can't exceed 50% of the income in order to have a 25% profit margin. So let me say this: many of you are paying your outside sales agents more money than that. You're paying them 60%, some of you paying 70%, crazy numbers like that. But let me just tell you straight up, man. You are probably stuck having to go on appointments and sell houses. And when you sell a home and it closes, all of that commission check goes into the operating account for your business. And you take out a little bit. And the reason is because you're having to subsidize the business. If you were to pay yourself 50%, leave 50 in, take 50 out, and put it in your own personal account, you may go out of business. And the reason is because you're paying your salespeople too much money, or you have other expenses that are too high, right? So when you are the agent on the transaction, or somebody else is the agent on the transaction, Craig and I recommend that you go ahead and pay yourself, the other agents, okay, pay yourself just like you would your other salespeople. Okay, if it's a 50-50 split, you leave 50 in, take 50 out. 50 in the operating account. The other 50 goes into your bank account. Now you've accounted for and you've allotted for being the real estate agent. You've accounted for that time. Okay, so that's the idea here. And out of that money that's left in your operating account, the gross profit from the total income should be 25%, give or take. But we're going to try to get to this 25% model. Okay. All right, so let's talk about income. Gross income from sales. So write this down. You got gross commission income from sellers. You got gross commission income from buyers. Okay. You have transaction fees that you should track separately. Okay. And you have vendor income. And not all that's listed here. Okay. So you have gross commission income from buyers, gross commission income from sellers, vendor income, okay, transaction fee income. And I don't know what other income there might be other than like referrals maybe. People sending you referrals. a referral check because you sent some business somewhere. Okay. All right. So do we get it all? Did you get all that written down? Gross commission income from buyers, gross commission income from sellers, transaction fees from both, transaction fee buyers, transaction fee sellers, vendor income, that's like the mortgage company giving you money, and other income from like referral sources. Okay, everybody get that? Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to update this thing for the 21st century and and be a little more specific on these things so you can do a better job tracking them. Our new system that we've got coming out is going to help you do this as well. Kind of our CRM. Okay, so that takes care of the income. Now, let's stop there. One thing that you'd be wise to do, listen really carefully. One thing that you'd be wise to do is to measure the income against your sales volume. Okay, so yes, you made money, that's great. What was the actual volume of the sale? So your sales volume for buyers, sales volume for sellers. Run your sales volume numbers, okay? And here's why. You want to be able to know what percentage of the sales volume, what percentage of the sale you're actually getting as commission income. Let me repeat. You do want to know what your commission percentage is because many of you think it is a certain number, right? Many of you think that it is until you go and measure it. And it's never really what you quote or what you tell people that it is on average for most of you. I had Sarah Reynolds in here for TW for a day not too long ago. And I suggested that her transaction fee be 1%. I said, give it a go. Instead of monkeying with your commission income, it's pretty good. Monkey with your transaction fee. And instead of making it $1, try a percentage. Go 1% transaction fee. And without batting an eye, she said, that's a good idea. Okay, so, and this is your job here, man. As the entrepreneur, the person who runs your business, your job is to always be testing price. Okay, what the marketplace will pay you. Okay, so let me run through the list again. We have gross commission income from buyers. Maybe I should just write that up here. All right, I just didn't want to do that because it would take a long time. Gross commission income from sales by buyer and seller. How about that? Is that good? I'll just write it down here. Transaction fees from buyer and seller. Okay, how about that? Okay, but measure it against your sales volume so you know your percentages. Everybody got that? Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one now. That's income. That's how much money we're making. Go ahead and break it down. Source it by buyer, by seller. Okay, I know some of you are breaking it down even further. Income by investor, income by first-time buyer, income by move-up. And I even saw somebody not too long ago, income by move down. So those are about the categories of buyers, right? Real estate. You got investors. You've got first-timers, move-ups, and move-downs. So you got 4 basic categories. Now, why? Why break it down that way? Well, let's think about that for a minute. It could very well establish a trend in the marketplace. It could very well tell you what parts of your business marketing are making you the most amount of money, which ones are not, which ones you should spend more time on, which would you spend less. Okay, did I get that? All right. Okay, so we've taken care of our income breakdown. Everybody good there? So look at your P&L. Do you have it broken down this way? Income, gross commission income, okay, by buyer, gross commission income by seller. transaction fee income by buyer, transaction fee income by seller. Okay, referral fee income and income from vendors, broken down by mortgage company, home inspection company, title company, wherever you're getting money. So you got lots of lines here on this. Okay, all right. Okay, so now let's move on to expenses. Okay, it's great to be making money, but the idea is to keep as much of it as we possibly can. All right, so what should cost of sales be? What should cost of sales be? Okay, well, no more than 50% cost of sales model. It can't be more than 50%. Okay, so let me help you get it to 50%. Okay, one expense that you could put in here right out of the chute is brokerage fee. Okay. Say 10% off the top of the transaction. If you own your own real estate company, you would be wise to understand that you are running a brokerage. The state, okay, or your local province, they require regulation through the brokerage. Is that right? Okay. So if you're a RE/MAX office, okay, and you're an agent at a RE/MAX office like Craig Proctor was and like I was for over 15 years, we're paying to the real estate brokerage a fee, transaction fee, or a percentage on every sale. Craig was paying 5% on every transaction to the RE/MAX brokerage. Somebody get that? Okay, so if you have your, okay, well, if it's a real estate brokerage, the state requires you to regulate everything. So if you have your own real estate company, listen, if you have your own real estate company, you got to put that in place. Like you have to get paid just for that part of it, just to have the real estate company. So if you've got agents on your team and it's your own independent real estate brokerage, you need to take some money off the top of the transaction to cover this extra stuff, regulations that the state and boards and everybody else puts on you. They put it on you. You got to keep up with all this stuff. There's extra expenses. There are things that you have to do that you would not do if it wasn't a regulated business. So 5% off the top of the transaction or 10% off the top of the transaction are customary. So it's called the brokerage fee or franchise fee or whatever you want to call it. So what I would recommend is that you take and you pull off 10% off the top of the transaction. If you're already paying a brokerage because you have your license at a real estate office that is a brokerage there, then they're taking some money off of every transaction, are they not? Okay, so you want to include that in your breakdowns. Okay, because at some point in the future, you will be able to make a good decision whether you need to talk to your broker about that. Like you're doing a bunch of transactions and you're subsidizing other agents that are there. Maybe that's not fair, but you'll have some leverage to discuss this with your broker on what makes sense. If you made a decision to go and open your own company, you would know when that decision might be wise or not wise to do, and all these kinds of things. You just need to know. Okay, so we're not telling anybody to leave their brokerage, go start their own, nothing like that. We don't have those conversations. We're just telling you to know your numbers so you can make good decisions on what to do given your present situation. All right, so if it's a $10,000 commission check, okay, and there's a 10% franchise fee or brokerage fee off the top, that's $1,000 going to the brokerage to cover the brokerage. Everybody get that? All right, good. So that leaves us with $9,000 as a commission. All right, so I'm going to, oops, you can see I'm not a great Excel spreadsheet guy by any means. As a matter of fact, I'm not even a great computer guy. Most of you know that. But I'm a really good marketer and business systems guy. Right? I tell people what we want to do, how we want things to work, and they show me how it works. So that's how it works, man. All right, so here we are on expenses. Okay, so we're back on cost of sales. Okay, so if we're using our model here, we've got a $10,000 commission income check, and we pay in our brokers 10%. That leaves us with $9,000. Okay, so if we're on a 50-50 split or a 50% cost of sales model, okay, and it's me, I sold the house, then $4,500, which is half, is going to stay in the operating account, and the other $4,500 is going to go into my personal bank account so I can pay my mortgage and all that kind of stuff. And the other $4,500 stays in the bank account to run the business. If it's an agent, an outside sales agent on the transaction, then they get the $4,500. They take it. They do whatever they want to do with it. And the other $4,500, which is 50% here, right, stays in the operating account. It's pretty easy for everybody to understand that. But what happens if you've got an inside sales agent involved? Okay, well, it's pretty simple. $10,000 commission check. We're going to use that number as our hypothetical. 10% for the brokerage fee. Okay, so that's $1,000. That leaves $9,000. The inside sales agent is getting paid 5%. Okay, you want to use that number? Okay, Craig and I would pay $500 a week to the inside sales agents, and then a commission of somewhere between 5 and 10%, depending on the inside sales agent. Okay, so let's go with 5%. What's 5% of $9,000? I can't pay the inside sales agent on commission money that we don't get. So it would have to be on the $9,000, not on what the brokerage gets. Does that make sense? Okay, so 5% of $9,000 is what? $450. Okay, so we take our $9,000 commission check minus $450 for the ISA, and that leaves us $8,550 that we would split 50-50. So let's throw this up on a Word document, and let's just walk through it, okay? Got to get me a new Word document up here. Okay, so here we are. Through this up here, we got $10,000 gross commission income, 10% broker fee, $1,000. That's $9,000 left, right? So if we're going to pay an inside sales agent 5%, all right, for the ISA, it's $450. Okay, so that leaves us $8,550 left, which we would split 50-50. Okay, does everybody see that? So the agent on the transaction, the OSA, of this $8,550, would get $4,275, which is 50%. Okay, and we'll just give that right to the OSA. And then this $4,275 that's left, it goes into the operating account. You see that? So what's my cost of sales here? Okay, it's 50%. Okay, so no matter how you slice it. Now, if it's your own company, okay, then you're basically at a 45% cost of sales. Okay, everybody see that? 45% cost of sales. I'm just telling you, in order to do this well, you're going to have to keep these expenses in line to keep your profit margin 25%. Okay, and you can see it because this is what I've got to pay all the bills on. Right there, man. This is going for the OSA. Whoops. This is going for the OSA, right? This is gone for the ISA. This is gone to the real estate company. All right, this is what I got right here, man. $4,275. So I got to pay all the bills on that and make a profit. Okay, so everybody follow me? So this is cost of sales. We got to keep your cost of sales under 50%. You can't pay people more than 50%. So this kid gets into recruiting and language and stuff like that. But here's some good language for you. Here's some good language. Hey, agent, here's how it works. You're going to get half, and I'm going to get half on these deals, okay? Out of your half, you keep it all. It's all yours. You have no expenses. Out of my half, I'm going to pay for marketing. I'm going to pay for operations to run the business. I'm going to pay for labor, all these assistants and people to help make this thing happen, okay? I'm going to pay the rent. And there's going to be some other miscellaneous expenses, right? There always is. And I'm going to take all the risk. In other words, I'm going to try things too along the way. And I'm going to give you everything you need to make your job easier at making the sales, okay? So in other words, research and development, travel around the country. I'm involved in a program and pay licensing fees to use it, all right? So I'm going to do all of that. So out of your half, you got it all. Out of my half, I'm going to be left with somewhere around 20 to 25%. So if you're okay getting half the money and you're okay with me getting 25%, we're probably going to get along really, really well. So that's some good language, right? That makes sense. It's good language to use. All right, so now that we have a pretty good idea of what a commission check breakdown looks like, we talked about income. We've talked about our commission check breakdown in terms of cost of sales. Okay, got to get your cost of sales no more than 50%, preferably 45%. Okay, because think about that difference between 50% and 45% is 5% profit. If you're making $1 million, what's 5%? 50 grand. Okay, that's a lot. That's a whole nother employee, maybe two. And a lot of marketing. That's radio, which produces even more business. Okay. All right. So I'll minimize my Word doc here and let's go and let's talk about other expenses. Advertising, which is really marketing. Okay. Marketing. So your marketing expense needs to really try to squeeze this thing under 10, which means if you do a really good job of leveraging the business that you get to get more business, you will push your marketing expenses down. Let me repeat that. Leveraging the business you get to get more business. Many of you watching this webinar right now are not very good at that or even understand what it is. Okay? But leveraging the business you get to get more business is a priority for you as you're working on your business daily. Okay, does everybody get that? It's a priority. So how can we leverage business to get more business? Okay, so if I'm going to print a business card, if I'm going to print a business card and use them, how can I get more business from that? Okay, well, I put my USP on it, put a good call to action. In other words, I copied the system. Okay, if I'm going to put a for sale sign in the yard, how can I get more business from it? Okay, well, I put buy this home, I'll buy yours on it. Okay, everybody get that? So you know how to make the current marketing systems that you use better to get more business, but how can you leverage the business you get to get more business? All right, quite simple. When you actually have a listing, how can you get more calls from that listing? I just gave you a good example of that with the for sale sign. And in syndication, we have a checklist for that. Okay, inside the house, outside the house. Okay, delivering good customer service, and of course, number one, asking for referrals. Past clients, going right back at them to come and buy investment property from you and send you more referrals. Okay, everybody get that? So leveraging the business you get to get more business is the only way you're going to be able to drive your marketing expenses down to under 10%. You're going to have to get business coming your way that seems like it showed up and you didn't spend any money on it. Okay, that's right now happens for a lot of you guys with referrals and things like that. You spend a lot of money on marketing, but you seem to get more business from things you don't spend much money on. Okay, leverage the business you get to get more business will drive down your operating expenses. All right. Some of our platinum members will do radio, and it may cost them $6,000 to get the one listing. So in other words, if they broke it down, what they spent on radio for the month and how many listings they picked up as a result of it, they may find it's a 100% break-even deal, maybe even losing money. Okay, not all, but some. But they're very good at leveraging the listing to get a bunch more. I got no problem making zero on a listing because I know how to turn that one listing into 3, 4, 5 others and just keeps on going and it builds from there. Okay, would have no issue with that many times. And I talked about this at the Platinum Business Building Boot Camp, is that I'm not sure that you really know what a listing is worth to you, or what a client is worth to you, what an adopted customer is worth to you. Okay, that's another one. Adopted customers, including adopted customers in your past client marketing, okay, will decrease your marketing expenses overall. So if you want to know how you get your marketing expenses down from 25%, 20, 10, a little bit lower, I just gave you the secret on it. Leveraging the listings you get to get more. Okay, so what all gets posted into marketing expense? Well, anything I'm using for marketing. So for example, if I'm sending the direct mail, if I'm sending direct mail to expireds and FSBOs, okay, so you know what that piece looks like, right? 4-page sales letter, okay, printed on paper. What does it cost to print for the paper? What does it cost for the ink that goes on it? What does it cost to produce that 4-page newsletter? The post-it note that goes on it, the business card that goes in the envelope, okay, the insert, the Dan Kennedy insert, that paper, that ink, the envelope cost, the stamp on the envelope, okay, the return label, the label. What does it cost for that marketing piece? You should know, okay, and that goes into marketing. Okay, so, incidentally, I'm getting some mail from some of you guys. I've got it laying around here in my office, and the return labels that are on your envelopes do not have your USP on them. There should be your name, your home sold, guaranteed or I'll buy it, call Todd and start packing, phone number, and your address. Like, why would you not put your USP there? Okay. I understand that there's less branded mail you may be sending out, but on all of your branded mail, man, just a peel and stick label, return label. Come on, that's your brand. Your USP is your brand's USP. Okay. All right. So, here's a question. Todd, the money that we pay you and Craig for the Millionaire Agent System, where does that fall into? That's a really good question. Okay, that's a good question. You can put it into several categories, but there should be a category with educational expense, okay, or franchise fee. You pay your broker, you pay your brokerage fee. If you're at Remax, you're paying them. What do you get in return for that? Right, you get a whole lot less than you get from paying us. I understand that. And many And this is what cracks me up. People will quit using our system, but they still pay their broker. That's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny. I got to tell you. So we make people rich agents, rich agent businesses, but they continue to pay, but they'll stop at some point for whatever reason. I don't know. They decide they know it all or something. And 100% of those guys' businesses go down. It's a fact. When you buy a McDonald's franchise, like you always pay them, like you pay them forever. You have the McDonald's franchise. Same thing here. You guys are involved in a franchise, and those who've been around for years and years and years know that it always gets better and better. We've got our CRM coming out. Like it just continues to. Our job's to make you very wealthy from your business. So which means you're in. So I just find that kind of funny, but. Educational expense or franchise fee. Okay, one of those. Okay, but it's a fixed cost that will actually go down over the years because the longer you're in our program, it goes down. We reward people for loyalty. So anyway, and of course there's higher levels, that we have of coaching, because some people want to get there faster. And so we have that available to you, like our titanium guys. So anyway, advertising, marketing, got to get it under 10%. Okay, and there's a short list that you could include there. Okay, but I broke it down for you, down to the envelope and the label. Okay, of course, your websites, what you're paying for those guys, your information lines. Okay, ads. We all understand pretty much whatever you spend money on to make money, marketing expense. Okay, now, what happens if you decide to go do radio or television? That's a massive marketing expense. Okay, well, if you'll look back up here, excuse me, when we talked about income and I said referral fee, if you go out and invest in radio or television, you're going to produce come list me's, but it cost you a lot of money to get those. So you have to charge a premium on that kind of business. Sarah was telling me that their newsletter does the same thing. They generate come list me's. They charge a premium on the leads that come in from their newsletter. Okay, so 25% is a good number. Okay, so think about that. If I'm running radio, it's very expensive and I'm getting come list me's, my marketing expense is way over 10%, maybe it's 20%, but when you charge a 25% referral fee or like a premium fee, okay, on the transaction, it will bring your marketing costs down. So that would be back up under income. Okay, all right. So as you can see, I'm walking through this rather slow and just taking our time, having some discussion. What pops into my head, I'm writing it down and telling you about it. Okay, so that's marketing. Okay, what about phone? Well, back in the day, phones were very freaking expensive, man. Paying AT&T landlines and voicemails and all that kind of stuff. Well, in today's age, much, much less so. But your cell phone and data usage has gone up. Okay, so you still want to track how your phone bills a little separately from your other expenses. Okay, because that is an expense that you can control. There are different carriers, okay, and people to do business with. AT&T versus Sprint and others, okay, and you can negotiate with them to bring fees down. You have an IP internet service provider, IP phone. Grasshopper is a company that does something like that. Spectrum, another one. Voice over IP telephones versus direct to landlines. So you can control this cost and expense of phone usage. So it should be an expense category for that reason. Okay? All right, next on the list is auto and travel. Okay, now some of you will include your automobile payment into your business. Okay, well, let's talk about that. If you pay cash for a car, okay, well, it's not going to be in here. You paid cash for it, so there's no payment for it. If you lease it, there's a payment. What percentage of the car time are you using the car for business is, I think, what the allowable deduction is according to IRS codes. I don't know specifically, but most of you probably just write the whole thing off. Okay, but your gas and your travel and all this stuff, this is something else that you can control what it costs. You have choices here. Okay, gas is cheaper at other places. There are credit cards that offer rebates back. I have a BP credit card. So when I use that card, I get points. So I can go and fill up at the BP station, and I can fill my tank up sometimes, and it costs me $5. Okay, and the reason is the points that I've built up on that credit card. Okay, so gas you get to control to a certain extent, and I just gave you an idea of doing that. The type of car you choose to drive, whether you're driving a Mercedes or a Hummer, okay, or a Kia, right? Or, you buy a car that's 3 years old and pay cash for it or older. All of these things you can control, so it should be a measurable expense on your P&L for your business. What percentage of it is being used for business, for pleasure? We would have 2 cars, my wife and I. We had one for the family. We had one for work. Okay, that's how we did things. Still do. So anyway, so that covers that expense, right? Auto, travel. Okay, now travel. If you're going from Atlanta, Georgia to Anaheim, California for a conference, okay, you can talk to your accountant exactly what category to put that in, but man, that's absolutely part of travel expenses. Okay, your hotel, that whole thing is written off. If you're talking with another agent at the conference and about business and referrals back and forth, okay, and you buy lunch for everybody, that's an expense write-off. Okay, if you're incorporated here. So again, the auto, the travel, okay, I think that takes care of, we understand that, so we've got a number on that as well. Now let's stop here before we get to the last 3, and let's talk about this. Some of these may be higher than what we have pointed out here, and some of them may be lower for you, but the idea is to get them to balance out. Okay, if you're a big networker, then your travel expense may be bigger than your marketing expense numbers. Okay. All right, now we get into operations and labor and rent. Okay. Some of the biggest ones. Cost of sales is your biggest expense. Labor is your next biggest expense probably. And then you get into operations, okay, right behind marketing. But office expenses, operational expenses, okay, what does it cost you to run your business outside of paying people and marketing? Okay, your computers, your equipment leases, okay, accounting and legal. Again, these are things you can control how much you pay. There are CPAs that are very expensive, and there are accountants that will charge you less money. There's some that will throw in their time for doing things, and some that won't. Same with attorneys. I have an attorney that will talk to me and not charge me, and he'll talk to me and charge me depending on what it is that we're dealing with. Okay, office supplies like pens. Okay, I got a pen here in my hand. Okay, I got batteries in my mouse, my wireless mouse, and the list goes on and on. Okay, so there's the number for that, 4.5%. Okay, so let's jump down to staff wages. Wages, employee wages. You got your customer service manager. You have your listing coordinator, database manager, marketing administrator, a courier, inside sales salaries. Okay. Wages, 12%, man. Now, here's what will make that number go higher, lower, whatever. But on average, should be around 12%. If you are really busy right now and you're running about a 9, 11, 10% wage expense percentage, and you hire an employee and you're going to pay them $4,000 a month, it's a good chance your percentage now may jump to 15%, it's like, or 16%, maybe higher, depending on your volume, right? Okay, well, it will come back down if your business is going up. Okay, it's an investment. So people are an investment, just like everything else is an investment. People. So when you invest in people, what is the return on the investment going to be? So when you bring on a new employee, you would think that your business they're going to help you raise your income levels. And if they don't, then it was a bad investment. Unless it's an investment to get something else, like time. You want to get your time back. Okay? So let's talk about closing coordinators. Many of you have a full-time person to help close your deals for your agents. Okay, you need to know Craig Proctor didn't have that. And when I learned that Craig did not have a closing coordinator for his real estate company, I got rid of mine. I walked in, I had 4 closing coordinators. I remember it really well. And it was just my labor costs. I couldn't get them right, couldn't figure it out. I had this conversation with Craig and got rid of all of them. No more closing coordinators. Just disappeared in one day. And it's a true story. And because we didn't need them. What I discovered is that we were doing the lender's job. We were doing the title company's job. We were doing the home inspector's job, the termite. They were doing everybody's job. And the closing attorney, title company, insurance guy, mortgage guy, they were more than happy to let my people do their work for them in terms of gathering information and relaying information back and forth. So I want you to think about this. What does the title company do? What does the lender do? What does the closing attorney do when it's a for sale by owner transaction and there are no real estate agents involved? So that's what I started asking. Well, what do you guys do? Yeah, we have systems for this and that. I was like, well, holy crap. Why don't you do that on my deals? Well, because agents like to do all these things and get involved. So we changed the way we did things, and that's how we were able to do 400, 500 transactions a year with basically 4 administrative people. Okay, so learn that from Mr. Proctor. So again, these are things you can control. Okay, courier. Okay, let's talk about that. I owned a pickup truck, and I bought a pickup, Ford pickup, and the courier would drive around in my truck, taking pictures of homes, putting up signs, taking them down, and do all that stuff. But there are also sign companies in town that will do all that stuff for you. And there are photographers that will run out there and take pictures, and you can put that right into your marketing expense. So you don't necessarily need a full-time runner. Okay, again, so this is a coaching webinar on how to get your profit to 25%. Okay, so labor cost 12%. Rent. Okay, the biggest mistake I ever made in my real estate career, the number one biggest mistake I ever made was over renting. When I left Remax, okay, I went and rented some office space, and I paid too much for it. And it hurt me. It took money away from the things that were that I could have been spending the money on, and eventually got under my skin that I was overpaying and was a complete distraction, and really meant me having to pack up and leave and negotiate at great peril with the landlord, which was Heinz Corporation. It was a major blunder and business decision. So I don't want to see anybody make that mistake. Okay, so keep your mortgage payment or your rent, whatever it is you're paying, needs to be 2% or less. Don't be going out there and doing this. That's a huge mistake, man. Huge mistake. That is mostly ego driven, mostly. And if you're going to have high rent bills, you better find a way to get other people to fund it and guarantee payment on it. Rent out space in there to other businesses, just like ballparks do. Find a way to get other people to pay for the freaking ballpark. Okay, otherwise you're in trouble, man. It will catch up with you. Remax Greater Atlanta went out of business. I think there were 5, was it 5? Might have been 9 locations around town. Nice, beautiful, lavish brick buildings, these Remax offices. Oh, it was great. You know, life was wonderful. And then the market crashed and tanked, and they went out of business. All done because of the brick and mortar. They could not recover from those bills that they had when agents weren't selling very many homes and able to pay their bills. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so let's run back through and then we'll get back to the bottom line. Okay, we talked about your income, gross commission income from sellers, gross commission income from buyers, transaction income by buyer, transaction income by seller, income from vendors, and referral income. And you can go ahead and place into that category referral fees, okay, you know, as well. That would be like other income, okay? Expenses, okay? Well, franchise fee or brokerage fee coming off the top of the transaction, okay? 5%, 10%. If you own your own real estate company, you still have to do this. And that number, 5 or 10, will impact, obviously, everything else. Your cost of sales, biggest expense, cannot exceed 50%. Can't. Preferably 45%. Okay? MLS cost, what it costs to pay an outside sales agent, what it costs to pay an inside sales agent commissions. Advertising, marketing. Okay, we broke that down really well. Under 10%, preferably 9. Phone expense, 1%. Okay, automobile and travel, 0.5%. Office expenses, what it costs to operate, operational expenses, your business, 4.5%. Labor, 12%. Okay, so let's pause right here real fast before we go any further on inside sales agent salaries. You can actually break those down by transaction, and you'll see that will play into your cost of sales. Okay, so you can put it either place. All right, but if they're not booking appointments, it's a complete waste of money. Talked to a platinum member yesterday who told me that they had an inside sales agent there for 3 months, had no closings, and only one person out, no listings as a result of them, and only one buyer out looking at homes. And I was like, dude, that's a major problem. So they're dealing with it. Okay, rent, occupancy of space, 2%. All right, so that will put your profit and loss, okay, it's somewhere around 21%. Okay, how do you get to 25%? You ready? Your cost of sales, 45%. That's it. So in other words, you move it down. Okay, how do you move your cost of sales to 45% without your agents complaining? Raise your fees, 6% commission to 6.5% commission to 7% commission. That's how. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this webinar with this. Many of you are allowing the MLS and listing agents to really dictate what your income is on the buy side of your transactions. Many of you still doing this. You cannot grow a real estate sales team, hire outside sales agents and inside sales agents and bring these people on and allow everyone to operate based on what the fee is on a home that they happen to find in the MLS. Okay, you won't get a lot of buyers that way because buyers will know that you're only selling them homes and showing them homes that are in the MLS, and then only the ones that you get optimum commissions on. They will leave you. You want to put yourself in a position to set your fee, okay, accordingly. Set your fee. Doesn't matter what's in MLS. It doesn't matter what homes is. When you set your fee, okay, then buyers will line up to do business with you because you can sell them any home. You can show any house, off market, on market, in MLS, out of MLS. It doesn't matter. Okay, a lot of agents think that you get less buyers when you get them to sign buyer agreements. It's the opposite. You get more, but you have to do it our way by showing them benefits and knowing how to negotiate your fee in the transaction without the buyer having to write a check for it. So setting your fee, negotiating your fee, and then of course, collecting your fee. Okay, so that right there, okay, will take care of the growth of your sales team if you can set your fee on buyer deals. Okay, so if you want to move your cost of sales from 50% to 45%, you raise your commissions by, number one, by setting your fee with working with buyers, and number two, by testing fees. Okay, most of you are probably undercharging for the services that you offer. Charge more. Okay, then there won't be an issue. Just get an optimum fee and you'll be good here. Okay, now we talk a lot of times 6%, 7%, all these other fees. If your average sales price is $600,000, then yeah, 5% commission. Okay, average sales price $200,000, 7% commission. It's all relative, right? Okay, so anyway, that's going to wrap up the webinar here for you. It's very instructional. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to get a transcription of this along with the video. I'll get it out to everybody. That'll be pretty good. We'll make this part of the Platinum Millionaire Agent Maker Guide, and it should be one for the history books. So work with your coach on this. You'll be good to go. And let's go sell some houses, man. We'll talk to you guys soon now. See you.